Welcome back again to Joe Stunner Boxing. At the weekend, you may have seen Sebastian Fundora, the Towering Inferno, get knocked flat, knocked out, counted out by Brian Mendoza in what was considered an upset. And Mendoza became the WBC interim super lightweight champ. I don't know why we need one of those, because Charlo is the champ, I thought, undisputed and all that. But, you know, fair play to Mendoza. He's got himself a belt. It's a bargaining chip. And knocking out Fundora in 7 rounds is an achievement, because Fundora, in case you don't know who he is, or perhaps you've forgotten, let me remind you, he is a 6'6" 80-inch reach southpaw super lightweight. Freakishly tall, freakishly long range, like a praying mantis, like a long collection of limbs tied together in the middle, and a southpaw to boot, which makes him even more awkward. He's the type of guy, you see him on your TV screen and you're adjusting the telly thinking, what's gone wrong here? No, he really is built like that. It's a thing to watch. But even though you would think with those long limbs, he would stick everything off the jab and just constantly keep the opponent at bay, the flaw, and we've seen it in the past, not just in this fight with Fundora, is that he likes to get involved. He likes to get up close and start letting his punches go. He likes to fight small, in other words. And he did this against Mendoza, and it cost him, because Mendoza knocked him out of the blue with a huge, I think it was a left hook followed by an overhand right. Every punch you throw against Fundora is going to be an overhand shot, because you just can't get to his chin. They've got to be swinging punches. And he knocked Fundora out. Fundora was flat on his back, got onto his elbows. His legs didn't move, which was kind of freakish, almost like his legs were paralysed. And he looked at the referee and almost acknowledged, I'm getting counted out here. And the referee finished the count. And Mendoza, whose face was bloodied, is the new champion. And this was, like I say, it was out of the blue, but not entirely surprising, because with Fundora, if you go back a couple of fights to when he won this sort of spurious WBC interim belt, he fought Erickson Lubin, and he knocked Lubin down in the second round. And he was, even though Lubin was competitive, Lubin was getting the worst of it. His face was busting up. And in the 7th round, it's almost like Lubin thought, I'm emptying the tank here. And he went for Fundora and just threw everything at him. Left, right, uppercuts, overhand rights, overhand left hooks, body head. Just tried to overwhelm Fundora. And Fundora hit the floor. And I think he actually resumed control, certainly in the next round. And then at the end, that was in the 7th round. In the 9th round, Lubin was retired by his corner. His face was like chopped meat. I mean, it was chopped liver. It was horrible. But the point is that Lubin dragged Fundora into a firefight. And yes, that's the flaw. Fundora likes to fight small. He really does. But he didn't to start with in this fight with Mendoza. He stuck behind the jab, constant jabbing, very little backhand work. The southpaw jab, Mendoza looking for a way and trying to navigate his way through those long limbs, like a jungle, chopping your way through it. Couldn't get near. And by the end of the first round, there were a few boos, and certainly by the second round, there were a lot of boos, because it was getting very repetitive with Fundora just jabbing. But it's interesting, because the pressure was from Fundora, and certainly Mendoza at the start had that look of, like a guy sitting at the top of the mountain, looking up, and you can just about see the top, and you say, how the hell am I going to climb this? But he didn't lose heart. He kept trying to keep Fundora working, busy. He wasn't getting anywhere for the first 2.5 rounds, 3 rounds. Certainly in the 3rd round, he got a little bit closer. But even though he got closer, Fundora, surprisingly, is quite a good inside fighter. Obviously, he needs a little bit of space to work those long levers. But he pushed Mendoza back to the ropes and then kind of got the better of him. And Mendoza was hanging on around the waist, hanging on. You're not going to hang on. You're not going to hang off his neck, are you? With Fundora, you're probably going to grab his waist, that thin waist of his. And Mendoza was trying to work, but even in the 3rd round, even though Fundora, I thought, won that round, it was noticeable that Mendoza had at least gotten a bit closer. And so it was gradually, he was creeping closer. And Fundora, again, I repeat, rather inexplicably, starts to fight small, starts to fight up close. He's quite happy to get up close. And he's doing some damage. I mean, there's some good uppercuts coming from Fundora. And by the 5th, 6th round, Mendoza's face is bloodying up. I mean, it's getting cut. He's got blood coming out of his mouth, his nose. He's looking a little bit swollen, not massively so, but around the face. I mean, this was some good work from Fundora up close. But he's giving the opponent a chance to work. You know, he's giving him a chance. And Mendoza, to his credit, even though he was getting kind of beaten up, was able to land his own body punches. Didn't seem to have a lot of effect on Mendoza, although the fact that when he was floored and stopped in the 7th round, he did kind of, I don't want to say quit, but he did look up at the ref and say, all right, enough's enough. Maybe those punches from Mendoza and that pressure was paying dividends that we just couldn't see. Well, by the 6th round, Fundora was, like I say, kind of beating up Mendoza. Mendoza's hanging in there. And then in the 7th round, with only 20 seconds gone, like I say, Mendoza landed that huge overhand left, followed by the right, where both of them landed flush. The first one seemed to freeze Fundora, who took a step back, stood bolt upright, clearly was, you know, semi-concussed. And then Mendoza came over with a huge right, which landed flush and knocked Fundora flat on his back, and he was counted out. So it's a very good win for Brian Mendoza. Well done to him. I mean, the guy, you know, like I say, he's got a couple of defeats on his record, but he's now 22 wins, 16 KOs, and those 2 defeats, they're on points. Sebastian Fundora falls to 20 wins with 13 KOs, 1 defeat and 1 draw. He can come back. He's only 25. Mendoza now 29. Can he get a fight with Charlo? This was on a PBC card, so you never know. Could be. Big payday. Did you see this fight? If so, leave your comments below. I know I've heard some people say Fundora was an accident waiting to happen. I kind of know what they mean, because he just likes to fight small. I don't know why. Maybe he hears the boos and think, I better get a bit of excitement going here. I don't know. He came a cropper in this one anyway. So leave your comments below. Let me know what you think about this fight. What do you think about these fighters? Where do you think Mendoza's going? How do you fancy him against Charlo? Spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing if you could. Leave your comments below and hit the like button and subscribe if you're new. We want to build the channel up. I really, really would appreciate that. And I always appreciate your support. Thanks for your time. And yeah, we'll speak again soon. Bye for now.